Welcome. Over the next few minutes, we're going to talk about a technology that is fundamentally changing how business gets done. This is your executive briefing on smart contracts. We're going to skip the hype and get straight to the strategy, focusing on efficiency and managing risk.
So, let's start with a question every leader should ask. What are the hidden costs dragging your business down? Think about it. All those hours wasted on manual paperwork, the delays from contract disputes, or the serious financial risk from one simple clerical error. These aren't just minor annoyances. They're a real drain on your bottom line.
All right, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll talk about why automation is no longer optional. Then, we'll get into what smart contracts actually are. After that, we'll look at some real-world examples in key industries, tackle the big questions around security, and finally, help you figure out if your organization is ready for this.
For hundreds of years, contracts have been pretty much the same, static pieces of paper or digital documents. But that's all changing. Let's dive into why automation has become an absolute necessity to stay competitive.
Okay, so on one hand, you've got traditional contracts. They need people to enforce them, which, opens the door to human error, different interpretations, and expensive middlemen like lawyers and banks. But on the other hand, you have smart contracts. Think of them as self-enforcing programs. The terms of the agreement are written directly into code, which makes everything automatic, secure, and way more transparent. And often, you don't need those middlemen anymore.
So what exactly is this technology? How does a simple idea turn into such a powerful tool for business? Let's get into it.
Here's the most important thing to understand. A smart contract isn't just a Word doc you sign online. It's active, living software. It's a program that sits on a blockchain and automatically carries out the terms of an agreement as soon as the conditions are met. It's basically a tireless, completely impartial digital agent that works 24/7 exactly as it was told to.
And this idea has actually been around for a while. A computer scientist named Nick Szabo thought it up way back in the 90s, but it was just a theory until the right tech came along. First, in 2009, Bitcoin showed the world that its underlying technology, the blockchain, actually worked. Then, the real game changer was in 2015 when Ethereum launched. It created this global platform that suddenly made it possible for anyone to build and run these incredibly powerful automated agreements.
So the real power of smart contracts rests on three pillars. First up is automation. It's like a vending machine for your business rules. When certain conditions are met, like a delivery is confirmed, it automatically triggers an action, like releasing a payment. No manual follow-up needed. The second pillar is security. Because it uses advanced cryptography and lives on the blockchain, the agreement is basically sealed in a digital vault. It's tamper-proof. And finally, transparency. Everyone involved can see the same unchangeable record of the agreement, which builds a massive amount of trust.
Okay, theory is great, but let's get practical. How is this technology actually being used right now to solve major business problems? We're going to look at two industries where smart contracts are already having a huge impact.
Two of the biggest areas seeing massive change are global logistics and financial services. In both cases, smart contracts are tearing down these old, slow, and confusing processes and replacing them with systems built for speed, clarity, and trust.
In supply chains, this stuff is a total game changer. Just imagine a shipping container that has a small sensor on it. The second that sensor signals the container has arrived at the port, a smart contract instantly releases the payment to the supplier. Just like that. That single automated action gets rid of invoicing delays, cuts down on mountains of paperwork, and creates a perfect, unchangeable record of the product's entire journey. Companies like Cargo Ledger are already doing this, building incredible trust between their partners.
And in finance, smart contracts are putting core operations on hyperdrive. They're automating everything from loan approvals to trade settlements, and they're the engine behind this whole new world of decentralized finance, or DeFi. So for businesses, what does this mean? Well, it means lower administrative costs and a much, much lower risk of fraud. It's making finance faster, cheaper, and a whole lot safer. Of course, I know that for any executive, a new technology is only as good as its security. So the big question is, how do smart contracts really stack up when it comes to protecting your company's assets and managing risk?
Well, the key thing to realize about smart contract security is that it's not some feature that gets bolted on at the end. It's built into the very foundation of the technology. Powerful cryptography is woven into its DNA, making sure every transaction is secure and every agreement runs exactly as planned, with no room for tampering.
This technology gives you a really structured way to reduce risk across the board. Worried about fraud? Every transaction is recorded on a permanent, transparent ledger. Worried about non-compliance? The code automatically enforces the rules, so there's no human oversight to fail. What about data breaches? Sensitive info can be encrypted or even stored separately. And disputes? They drop way down, because clear, unchangeable code is a lot harder to argue about than dense legal text.
So you can see the potential, right? That brings us to the final and maybe the most important question. Is your organization actually ready to adopt smart contracts? And how do you even start to figure that out? Before you jump in, you've got to ask some tough questions. First, look at your business processes. What transactions are frequent, repetitive, and based on clear rules? Those are your prime candidates. Then think bigger. Can this solution scale as you grow? How will it plug into the systems you already have? What are the legal and regulatory hurdles in your industry? And maybe most importantly, remember that the contract is only as good as its code. That means rigorous auditing isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely essential.
We can actually boil that whole assessment down to a pretty straightforward 3-step audit. Step 1. Analyze your current processes and pinpoint the best opportunities for automation. Step 2. Assess your tech infrastructure to see what you'll need for integration and for future growth. And Step 3. Talk to the experts to review the legal and compliance landscape. It's a focused plan that will show you exactly where and how to start.
Ultimately, what we're seeing is this technology shifting from a niche concept to a real competitive advantage. The question isn't if businesses are going to automate their agreements anymore, it's when. And the real takeaway here is that by embracing smart contracts, you can shift your company's valuable time and resources away from costly manual administration and toward what really matters: strategic innovation and growth. So, are you ready to lead, or are you ready to be left behind?